This conference will now be recorded.
In the last session, we discussed about ADF architecture, right? So we just want to move the data from. There are two ways, guys. Okay, one thing you just need to connect to the on-prem systems and you can move the data to the cloud, right? So we discussed in yesterday's session with a diagrammatic representation, right? So and you can also move the data from cloud to cloud, okay? And it might be from AWS, it might be from public network also, okay? You can use this Azure integration runtime and to connect to that source, and you can transform the data. You can transfer the data from one place to another place. The data is available in AWS and you want to move to Azure cloud. Maybe you want to load data into data lake or somewhere inside Azure cloud. You can still do that with integration runtime. So this integration runtime concept is very useful. What exactly it will provide you guys? It will provide a compute infrastructure, right? So for example, you have your laptop and you want to move some data to your friend laptop. You need some network, right? So here also, when I want to move data from one place to another place, so if it is in a private network, right? So you don't know your company's network, right? So your Infosys, it's their private network, right? So if you want to move data from here to here, you have to install one software, one executable file, that is SHIR, self-hosted integration runtime. I'll show you how exactly you need to install the self-hosted integration runtime and how exactly you need to move the data from the on-prem to the cloud. Okay, and here since it is a public network and the under cloud, so you want to move data from here to here. You no need to create any external integration runtime. Sometimes what will happen if you do not want to move your data to other regions, right? You can create your own integration runtime, Azure integration runtime. By default, you have the Azure default integration runtime when you try to create the Azure Data Factory service inside a portal. Okay, when you want to create your own integration runtime, what cases you can create that integration runtime that we can discuss going forward. Sometimes what will happen in ADF itself, we have a data flows. Maybe your source system hosted on a virtual network, right? So you can still create this Azure integration runtime and you can enable that virtual network option and you can connect it securely to your system, okay, source system. So this is what the architecture that we have discussed, and this is an UI based. You don't need to worry about any coding here. It's completely code free tool. Okay, just drag and drop. Okay, it's easy for you to learn, and in the future also we have plenty of opportunities to create for you to explore more, for you to practice more. You can have lot of examples available in the current market. Okay, so you can search in the Google and you can try to practice. Not now, after a few sessions you can try to practice once you have complete understanding on Azure Data Factory. Okay, so till now what we discussed, right? So you are aware all these components, right? So few of the components already explained, like linked services, data sets, activities. Left side 4 I have explained, guys, right? And the right side integration runtime concept also we discussed at a high level, not in depth. At a high level I have explained, right? Triggers, data flow. So if you want to automate your workflow, if you want to schedule your pipeline, right? So in ADF itself we have different kinds of triggers, guys. For example, you created a pipeline, that is fine, guys. Okay, you created a pipeline saying you're trying to, let's discuss in a diagrammatic representation. For example, this is source. This is your source. Source system. This is your target. Okay. I want to move data from here to here using Azure Data Factory service. So I have here three tables. I want to move first table 1 and table 2 to target, and this is my target. Okay, so this is my source DB and this is my target database, and this source DB, it might be, for example, Oracle DB, and target is, it might be SQL DB. Okay, so Azure SQL DB, Azure Oracle DB. Okay, so this is a source system Oracle database, and this is a target Azure SQL database. Okay, you want to move table 1, table 2 to target. Okay, so you don't want this table 3 to be loaded into target, so you want to load only. Okay, let's discuss that so how you need to move all the three tables, table 1 and table 2, table 3. And we have a requirement in ADF. So we discussed in yesterday's session what are all your sequence of steps, right? So what is your first step? You need to authenticate the source system first, right? You need some Oracle connection string, you need username, password to connect to that source system, table 1, table 2. At table 3, I want to move 3 tables to target SQL database, okay, using Azure Data Factory service. Okay, in a real time, what will happen, guys? Okay, so you want to schedule this pipeline. For example, you can run this pipeline manually and you can move all the tables to the target. That is fine, but my client don't want that. My customer, he want me to run every day 2 p.m. UTC time zone. Okay, so I don't want to run every time, because he's going to be place all the updated tables. He's going to be update the tables in maybe that particular period of time, and I want to fetch that information and I want to load that into target location, okay, using Azure Data Factory service. Remember this point, guys, always in a real time we have some schedule mechanisms. Okay, so in Azure Data Factory we have a concept triggers. Okay, triggers, we have different kinds of triggers. We have schedule, we have schedule based triggers, schedule trigger. Okay, and we have tumbling window trigger. No need to worry. So we can discuss about these triggers. Just understand the terminology. Tumbling window trigger. And we also have event trigger. Okay. So these are all different kinds of triggers we have in ADF where you need to schedule your pipeline, right? So you don't want to run manually this pipeline, you want to automate this. Okay, you want to automate your pipeline, saying that my customer want me to run my pipeline every day 2 p.m. UTC time zone. I want to schedule this pipeline in a schedule trigger. I'll come to the schedule trigger, guys. If you want to schedule your pipeline with a future date, so now time is 7:21 a.m. And if I want to schedule our pipeline with a future time, we generally use this schedule trigger. Okay, so if you want to run this pipeline with the past window slices, or if I want to run my pipeline with, generally there are a lot of concepts are associated with tumbling window based trigger. We have some huge volume of data. Sometimes we have large files, small files. There is a properties in tumbling window max concurrency. So how you need to set that and how you need to schedule your pipeline, we can see going forward. And it's a one-to-one relationship basically. And so sometimes what will happen, guys? So my client don't want me to run every day. So he want me to run only weekdays. If you want to schedule your pipeline, only weekdays. Only weekdays I want to load the data into the target. Okay. So those type of schedules in a month, if you want to schedule your pipeline, I want to schedule my pipeline only 1st of the month, 11th of the month, 22nd of the month, for suppose. Okay, I don't want to run every day. So you can schedule your pipeline with a periodic intervals, like every 15 minutes I want to schedule my pipeline, every half an hour I want to schedule my pipeline, every 1 hour. Okay, so every 2 hours, like this you can schedule your pipeline with a schedule based trigger, guys. So how you need to schedule, how you need to automate this, that we can discuss going forward, step by step process. At a high level, just want to explain the definition of triggers. If you want to schedule your pipelines, you need to use this triggering concept in Azure Data Factory, and you can automate that based on your client requirement. You can schedule your pipeline accordingly. Okay, any questions here, guys? Everyone with me? Any questions?
So, when you say trigger, you mean processing, right?
Triggering in the sense scheduling.
So, triggering and scheduling is same thing.
Yes, yes. So we have different kinds of triggers. So what time you want to run your pipeline, just trigger your pipeline, right? We have different kinds of triggers. In the sense, the pipeline will start executing that particular period of time. For example, 2 p.m. my client wants me to run the pipeline every day 2 p.m. I can schedule the pipeline every day 2 p.m. How you need to schedule your pipeline, that I can discuss. Okay, that I can explain while implementing this trigger concept once we start creating the pipeline.
So
Got
what I
it?
understood is that like you'll be transferring the data from source to the target, and you'll set
Correct.
a time, and it will
Exactly.
happen automatically on daily basis as per the time you have set up.
Exactly, guys.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have a data flow. So I'll come to the data flow where you need to do the transformations. So as we discussed it, right, the ADF, I'm saying the completely code free tool. You no need to worry about any piece of code here. Data flows also where we can do the transformations, guys. So what it means, transformations, what it means exactly. So generally in a SQL, maybe if you are aware, we have different kinds of transformations, right? So if you want to perform some aggregations, right? So if you want to perform sum of two numbers, right? So this is called it as aggregation, right? So all these are transformations. You have some minimum value if you want to find out from the numbers, right? So maximum value and the sum of the values, average of the all the values, and count of the value. All these are comes under aggregations. Like this, we have different kinds of transformations. Like we have union transformation. We can discuss, guys, in data flows. I'll clearly explain that what kind of transformations we have in the data flows and how you need to transform the data using data flows, using code free tool. Okay, so what will happen, guys, you generally use a code free tool, just drag and drop only, but internally it will create a code. You don't need to worry about the code at all. Okay, you just need to focus on your pipeline, you just need to focus on your transformations, what is your client requirement, and what are all the transformations you need to apply on top of the data, that we can discuss. Okay, based on the data set, based on the source data set, what are all the transformations you have to do in a real time, that I can explain. Okay, there are different concepts, different transformations are available in a data flows that we can discuss, like joins, unions, conditional split, alter row. There are different kinds of transformations that I'll explain clearly once we start the data flow session. So in ADF itself, these are all main components, guys. Okay, so pipelines, link services, activities, data sets, triggers, data flow, integration, runtime. Because in any in interview point of view, if they will ask about what are all the building blocks or what are all the components are associated with Azure Data Factory, you have to tell all these components. Remember this point. In interview point of view, if they will ask what are all the building blocks, what are all the basic components are associated with Azure Data Factory, you have to tell pipeline, link services, activities, data sets, triggers, data flow, integration runtime. Okay, So all these components are associated with Azure Data Factory. Right? And when it comes to so integration runtime, just three types of integration runtime. This is a damn sure interview question. Okay, so what is integration runtime and why we need to use integration runtime? What types of integration runtimes we have in current market, and why we have three integration runtime? Okay, so we can have a separate session for this integration runtime, but at a high level, the integration runtime is the compute infrastructure used by Azure Data Factory. That's what I have explained in a previous session as well. So compute infrastructure in the sense when you want to move data from source to target, right? If you have two laptops, right, you need some network to move the data from one laptop to your friend laptop, right? So the simple way I'm trying to explain, guys. Okay, so like here also, we infrastructure and everything is managed by Microsoft. Okay, and the integration runtime basically provides a compute infrastructure used by Azure Data Factory. The following types of integration runtime available: we have Azure integration runtime, we have auto resolve or Azure integration runtime. Everything is comes under this section. Azure SSIS integration runtime. If you want to run your SSIS packages, right? Maybe if you guys are coming from MSBI background, right? So they have some SSIS packages and they want to execute their SSIS packages in Azure Data Factory service. And we have an activity in Azure Data Factory. They were invented in Azure Data Factory version 2 only. This is the biggest feature they were added in Azure Data Factory version 2, running SSIS packages directly in ADF. Okay, so we have, because both are Microsoft products only, right? So they can have that flexibility, and that they can whoever is coming from MSBI background and whoever is already working on MSBI SSIS packages, and they can directly run these SSIS packages in Azure Data Factory service. That I can explain how you need to execute and what kind of activity you need to drag. Okay, so without making any single piece of code, you can execute SSIS packages in ADF, but you should run this Azure SSIS integration runtime. So you have to create this Azure SSIS integration runtime. Okay, SQL Server Integration Services. Okay, so this IR you need to connect when you want to connect on-prem SSIS package and you want to execute those SSIS packages in Azure Data Factory service. Okay, so we have another integration runtime, that is self-hosted integration runtime. So self-hosted integration runtime, generally as we discussed in a previous session, and when you want to move data from on-premises, so on-premises in the sense, if it is in it's hosted on a private network, guys, it's in a private network, it's their network, right? And you need to connect to their network, right? So you have to be install the self-hosted integration runtime. Since it is a secure network, your on-prem system is very secure, and you want to connect to that secure system, and you need to move the data to the target, maybe data lake or somewhere. Okay, so that we can discuss how exactly you need to connect, and how exactly you need to install the self-hosted IR. This is very, very important, guys. When you want to move data from on-prem to cloud, you should understand this concept. Okay, so how the relationship between both between the ADF components. So pipeline is a logical grouping of activities, and these are all copy activities, some stored procedure activity, and it will actually, sorry guys, guys, can you go on mute please? Okay, so we have activities, active data sets, basically data sets produces, and it will consume, right, all the data from the data set, and a link service, and it represents that data items that you have to connect to that source link service, SQL Server or Databricks or Oracle. So whatever the source it is, you need to connect using link service. So basically it will integration runtime, every activity is running on top of integration runtime only, and the link services will consume all the infrastructure, right? So integration runtime is very useful, whether it is self-hosted or auto-resolve. So when we try to create a pipeline, you can clearly understand the dependency between each and every activity. So that's what we discussed till now. But when we start creating a pipelines practically, you can understand clearly, guys. Okay. So triggers are not used schedule execution of are used for schedule execution of pipeline, and pipelines and triggers have many to many relationship. Multiple triggers can kick off a single pipeline, or a single trigger can kick off multiple pipelines. So that's what the beauty of one of the trigger we have in ADF schedule trigger. So you can assign multiple pipelines to the single trigger or multiple triggers to the single pipeline as well. Okay, that's what the flexibility we have in the Azure Data Factory. So just on high level, I just want to show you connecting. So these are all different VMs actually Azure IR. So automatically scalable, right? So you no need to worry about automatic scalable and everything, but in line they're going to create VMs, and they can install. Sometimes we'll also install virtual networks, and I mean we generally posted our sources in a virtual network. Okay, so just need to connect to that cloud data stores, and how exactly you need to create a pipelines by connecting to the on-prem system, or any virtual network hosted systems. So you need to use this Azure Data Factory service, and you can install accordingly. So as we discussed, right, till now we discussed about ADF architecture and what are all the components are associated with Azure Data Factory service. And so we also discussed about architecture clearly, right? So the basic building blocks also we discussed till now. So when to use Azure Data Factory? So there should be some requirement, right? So you should understand that. So building a big data analytics solution on Microsoft Azure. So when you have any volume of data is very high, okay. So you want to do some analytics on top of huge volume of data. For example, I have here Amazon or Flipkart, and I'm getting, for example, I'm getting 100 GB of data. So for Oracle DB, 100 GB of data I'm getting from source, and I want to load all the data to the target. But in between, I have to perform some analytics on top of the data. But my customer, they don't want as it is data to be ingested into the target. They want me to perform some transformations. Okay, so here building a big data analytics solution on Microsoft Azure. So you have to be do certain kinds of analytics on top of the data, right? So as we discussed, right, for example, if I can take Amazon or Flipkart or eBay or Snapdeal or any other e-commerce websites, right? So I mean, whatever that you log in, right? Maybe today you log into that Amazon app at 10 a.m., right? And you start searching your products, and they will gather all your information, guys. Okay, they will gather all your information, and they will send you some recommendations when you try to log in same email ID with other websites, right? So they will send some recommendations, and they will I mean, you can be able to load all the 100 GB of data to the target. Okay, so based on this 100 GB of data, so we'll do some sort of analytics, how you need to perform that, and how what kind of transformations we need to do on this top of data, we can see going forward, and where analytics come into picture. Okay, we'll also discuss that. But at a high level, when you want to perform an analytics, big data analytics, we can choose the Azure Data Factory service for you to move data from source to target. Because since we have huge volume of data, right, you can use ADF service and you can move terabytes of data, guys. Remember this point, you have 100 GB of data, and you can move through Azure Data Factory service. When why only Azure Data Factory? We have many tools in Azure Data Factory. I mean, apart from Azure Data Factory, we have many ETL tools in current market, right? Like Informatica, Data Stage, SSIS, Talent, right? So why people are not using those tools? So we have to be set up everything, guys. Okay, in on-prem system, So in on-prem systems, we have to be set up everything, right? So right from so when it comes to any ETL product, right, in current market, so what customer currently looking? They're looking for cost, they're looking for productivity, they're looking for performance, they're looking for security. So these are all is providing ADF. Okay, when compared to other ETL tools, cost perspective, it is very less when compared to other ETL tools. And building big data analytics solution on Microsoft Azure and building a modern data warehouse solution that relies on technologies such as SQL Server. For example, you have SSIS packages and you want to run those SSIS packages in Azure Data Factory. So why you want to run SSIS packages in Azure Data Factory? Because these kinds of lucrative reasons, guys. Okay, these kinds of reasons. Okay, so people are moving to Azure Data Factory and their underlying infrastructure and everything is managed by Azure Data Factory only. Even if you want to run your SSIS packages, the underlying infrastructure and everything is managed by Azure. Okay, so that's the beauty, guys. That is the reason people are moving to Azure Data Factory. The first reason is when you have a huge volume of data and you want to perform some analytics on top of the data, you can move the data using Azure Data Factory service. And when you have so as I also discussed about when compared to other ETL tools, why only people are choosing Azure Data Factory service? Because of these lucrative reasons, because of the cost, because of performance, because of the security, and because of the productivity. Okay, so people are choosing, the main reasons are this. And so very cheap, guys, when compared to other ETL tools. It's a cost effective solution, and the ADF provides the ability to run SSIS packages on Azure and build modern ETL or ELT pipeline, letting you access both on premises and cloud data services. So you can, using this ADF, you can connect, you can run your SSIS packages. That's what I have discussed. And you can also moving data from on-prem to cloud. Okay, so that's what the beauty of Azure Data Factory. When you have a requirement saying that you don't want to maintain your underlying infrastructure and everything should managed by Microsoft, you want to move to any PaaS services, right? So whereas PaaS services, in the sense, you no need to worry about underlying infrastructure and everything is managed by Microsoft. Okay, vendor should manage for you on behalf of. You should focus on your data and applications, guys. Okay, you should not focus about your underlying infrastructure. That's what the beauty of Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory is, there is no infrastructure, right? There is no underlying infrastructure. So it means that it is serverless infrastructure and it is fully managed by Microsoft. You don't need to worry about underlying infrastructure, right? Like storage, memory, network, everything is taken care by Microsoft only. So migrating or copying data from physical server to the cloud, from non-Azure to Azure, right? And ADF can be used to migrate both structured and binary data. Okay, so both you can connect to your on-prem systems and you can move the data to the cloud. You can connect to any public network. You can still move the data to the cloud. So you can easily move the data, guys. Okay, whether it is structured or binary data. So binary data, in the sense, when you have audio files, video files, image files, sensor data, streaming data, whether it is unstructured data, you can still move the data to the cloud using ADF service. Okay, so we can see going forward all these things. Okay, so at a diagrammatic way, guys, so I just want to show you in a real time. You may connect to the Salesforce. It's hosted on a cloud, Salesforce in the sense, and you have some customers data and you want to ingest the data to the cloud, Azure cloud. You can see here arrows. I want to ingest the data into Azure cloud, and it's also an on-premises system. It's a cloud and it's an on-prem system. It's an Oracle on-premises. I want to move data to blob storage or data lake storage Gen 2, and then I'll start doing some transformation, some analytics on top of the data. I can see here, prepare the data what customer needs and analyze the data using this machine learning models. Okay, so what exactly the difference between data engineering and the data science or machine learning? So initially you have to be collect all the data, guys. You have a huge volume of data, you have to collect the data and you have to be prepare the data based on customer need. Based on your customer need, you can prepare the data and you can ingest the data into cloud. From there, data science and machine learning people will come into picture, and they will do some sort of analytics on top of the data, right? So this is what machine learning. And sometimes what we need to do here, you can load the data finally into, after doing transformations, you can load the data finally into data warehouse, and you can do some analysis services. No need to worry about all these things, guys. Okay, we generally want to load data into data lake also. From there, business people, they will use any reporting tool like a Power BI or Tableau, and they can connect to that source, and they can view the data. It might be data warehouse, it might be data lake, it might be, no need to use Azure analysis services everywhere. Okay, most of the scenarios will use data lake storage Gen 2 or SQL database, and from there, Power BI team, they'll connect to their Power BI reports, and they will view the data. Okay. So after this, so when to use Azure Data Factory and how exactly we want to move data at a high level, I just want to show you the diagram. So why ADF, right? So as we discussed in a previous concept, right? So when compared to other ETL tools, so why ADF? It's a cost effective. Okay, it's a cost effective, guys, and ADF is a serverless, and billing is based on the factors such as the number of activities run, the data moment duration. So you're trying to move data, guys. Here you're trying to move data, 100 GB data from source Oracle DB to target Azure SQL database, right? So how much Microsoft is charging when compared to other ETL tools? Many like customers, they can check all these things, guys. Okay, they have certain data, they want to move data from their source system to target system, and they want to check all the measures with other ETL tools in current market. When compared to other ETL tools, ADF is cheaper, guys. With ADF is a cost-effective solution. So you can see, I also kept it as one example. If you run your ETL or ELT pipeline hourly, which also involve data movement, okay. So assuming 100 GB of data movement per hourly run, we should take around 8 minutes with the 200 Mbps bandwidth, guys. So 100 GB in the sense it's a huge volume of data, right? So Microsoft with the 200 Mbps bandwidth, 200 Mbps network speed, so I can be able to run within 8 minutes. Okay, then ADF would bill not more than $12, guys. So you can see, guys, how cost effective it is, and how fast it is when it comes to performance when compared to other ETL tools in current market. Currently ADF is place ADF is gain more score than that. Okay, so that's the reason many businesses, they're moving to Azure Data Factory services because of these reasons. Okay, so cloud scale in the sense ADF being platform as a service, right? That's what I am trying to say from scratch. ADF is a PaaS service, platform as a service. Okay, so which is Microsoft is offering right now. So many people are moving, many businesses are moving to PaaS services. The reason behind, they don't want to handle their underlying infrastructure. Okay, so they just want to focus on their business, they just want to focus on their customers, they just want to focus on their customer needs and satisfaction. So to improve their business, so Microsoft, they're moving to cloud, they're trying to take the infrastructure from the cloud, guys. Okay, so many organizations, many businesses in a cloud side, if you are trying to move right now, in the future we have plenty of opportunities will create, guys, because people don't want to, I mean, they're not interested to maintain their infrastructures. Okay, so they want, somebody need to maintain their infrastructure, and they want to create and deploy their applications in those environments. That's what people are looking for, and they're also looking for cost effective solution. They're also looking for a performance wise, when compared, they already have setup, right, on-prem setup, when it comes to data stage Informatica. When they tried moving all the jobs, Informatica jobs, SSA jobs, talent jobs, when they tried moving all the jobs to cloud environment, they don't want to see any performance degradation, right? They want to see more performance, right? So that's the reason many people are moving to cloud, especially on Azure Data Factory service. And with respect to securities, because data in the sense, it's a security, right? So many people are expecting security from the cloud service providers, right? So because you have a lot of personal information, you have your phone number, you have some your email ID, your credit card information. So all your personal details should be secure, right? So that's the beauty of Azure Data Factory. So generally ADF is a first party citizen to Microsoft Azure, guys. Okay, remember this point. So all these services, all the 200 services, Microsoft is offering same set of security standards. Okay, that's what the beauty of Microsoft Azure. That's the reason people are moving to Microsoft Azure. So high performance, hybrid connectivity, ADF supports almost 90 plus connectors. So there is some ready-made connectors, guys. So if your client, so if you start working in a real time, if your source system is Oracle, if your source system is MySQL database, for example, and you want to connect to that source system, right? You want to connect to the source system, we have ready-made connectors are available. You just need to click on that MySQL connector and you need to pass username, password, connection string, whatever it is. Okay, so you just need to pass that and you can connect accordingly and you can move the data to the cloud. Okay, or else MySQL is there in cloud as well. If you want to move data from cloud to cloud, still you can do that. Okay, so high performance hybrid connectivity, hybrid connectors are available in India. Okay, so either you can move the data from on-prem sources or cloud sources as well. Easy interaction. So ADF supports for many connectors, make it easy to interact with all kinds of technologies. So you can connect to NoSQL database, you can connect to SQL database, you can connect to storage accounts like Blob or a data lake. You can connect to Databricks also, guys. You need to create a link service and you need to connect to the keyword service. And there are a lot of things and using ADF connectors. Okay, and this is a visual tool when compared to other. This is a visual UI authoring or monitoring tool. It makes super productive. It makes you super productive as you can use a drag and drop deployment. You no need to worry about any coding here. Just it is a drag and drop deployment development. Okay, so the main goal of this visualization tool is to allow to be productive with ADF by getting pipelines up and running quickly without requiring you to write a single line of code. You no need to write any single line of code here, guys. Okay, without writing any piece of code, you just need to drag and drop. Okay, that we can see practically. And SSIS package execution, scheduled package pipeline execution. So that's what we discussed. We can directly run SSIS packages in Azure Data Factory service and the schedule pipeline execution. So every business have different latency requirement. They want to run their pipeline in their specific time, in their specific times, right? So your customer requirement is to run your pipeline every day 6 a.m. for example, right? You have to schedule accordingly. Okay, so they will share all this information to you. Based on that, you can take an action against. So that this is what why Azure Data Factory, and these are all some of architectures or some of how the data is moving from source to target and using Azure Data Factory service. So this is an on-prem data, Oracle, SQL, Teradata, FileShare, SAP, or your source is cloud data, Azure, AWS, or GCP, and your source data is SAP, SaaS data like Salesforce, Workday, Dynamics, right? So all these are different kinds of source systems, guys. Okay. So using Azure Data Factory service, you can be able to move the data to Azure Blob Storage, and you can do the transformations in Azure Data Factory in a few scenarios. You can do the transformations in Azure Databricks. So at just a high level, guys, you can load the data into SQL data warehouse, and so we'll create different data models that we can see going forward. So we will see here Azure analysis services, and where we need to do some analyze the data, and we finally use the Power BI reporting tool, and we can be able to visualize the data. So no need to worry about all these components, guys. Okay, so just use this layer. So using Azure Data Factory service, how we need to move data to Azure Blob Storage. At this point of time, you just need to focus on this stage. Okay, and then later point of time, I'll start explaining about the remaining one. Okay, so data flows I'll come later, and integration runtime also will have separate session, and data flows we have separate session. So ADF, I'll come to all these things because you have to understand that data flows once I start explaining. And we also have some integration runtimes, Azure integration runtimes. You also need to understand that integration runtime concept as well. Okay, So I'll come to this now. Today's session, I want to explain about how you need to create a free account, because you have to practice every day, right? Then we start creating, start experimenting different types of practical examples, right? So let's go to how you need to create a free account. Okay, so let's go that. So already I have an account. I'll open an in private window. Okay, so new in private, incognito mode. Okay, because you can open your browser only. Okay, so I already have the account is created, which is provided by my organization, and you have to create your own free trial account, right? So just go to your browser. Okay, this is your browser. Just Google Microsoft Azure free account. Okay, so create your Azure free account. Okay, so just click on this. So you have to understand few things, guys, here. So there are few services are free. Okay, so Microsoft, they're offering 200 plus services, right? That's what I'm trying to say from scratch. So in that 200 services, there are few services are free for always. There are few services are free for 12 months. Okay. So once you start creating this account, right, Azure account, you can start exploring those services, whatever the free services for 12 months, and whatever the services are free for always. But there is some limitation. Okay, there is some limitation with respect to capacity. Okay, so you cannot expect I can move I mean a huge volume of data. You cannot expect that, because they're providing the free services are always free for 12 months. The reason behind, you can do some R&D on top of that before going to implement in your project, right? So what customer needs before going to implement, whether it is this concept is suit to customer scenario or not, so they have to do some R&D, right? So that's the reason Microsoft is currently providing the few services are free for 12 months. There are few services are free for always. I can see here. So in this page, guys, in this page you can see build in the cloud with an Azure free account, create, deploy and manage applications across multiple clouds or on premises and at the edge. Okay, so what it means, so you can create your pipelines, you can deploy your pipelines. Okay, and you can get the data from the on-prem systems, or else you can get the data from the cloud as well. So it's in two options here: start free account and pay as you go subscription. You, if you already have that start free trial is completed, you can also go to the pay as you go subscription. Or else, if you have any other credit card, you can be able to create this free account again. Okay, so popular services free for 12 months, 40 plus other services free always. Okay, so remember this point, guys. Popular services free for 12 months, and what are all the services are free for 12 months? 40 plus other services free always Microsoft is offering. So what are all the services those? And when it comes to free account, guys, we have USD 200 they're providing for you to practice 30 days. Okay, you will have the 30 days to use it, and in addition to the free services. And so we can see that what are all the services are free and how you need to access. So I can see here, these are all the services. See all free services, just click on see all free services. I can see advisor, anomaly detector, API management, and app configurations, app services, right? So there are many services. Just drag down, you can see all 40 services. Cosmos DB database for MySQL, you can see, guys. Okay, only 1000 request unit per second, provision throughput with 25 GB storage. So these are all some of examples. Okay, these are all, there are some limitations with respect to Cosmos DB. And 400 request unit per second, provision throughput with 25 GB storage, because they're providing free, right? So that's the reason there you cannot move huge volume of data. For you to practice, you can practice that using Azure Cosmos DB service. So these are all the services they're providing free for 12 months, and their few services are free for always. I can see right side, right? So always few services are free for 12 months. Okay. So remember this point, guys, and you can use if you want these services in Microsoft IoT and Logic apps. So these are all the services. Okay. So no need to worry about all these 40 services, and whatever as a data engineer, whatever the services you need, you can just focus on those services. That's it. Okay. Those services I can start explaining, guys. No need to worry. So now click on the start free. Okay, free trial you want to create, right? And you can use some new email ID, or else if you already have the Gmail also, you can use that. Okay, so let's try to create a new email ID. For example,
Suresh,
Suresh.
can you just show where did you click for this one?
Oh, okay, okay. So click on start free,
Okay,
guys.
just start free. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, click on start free. Okay, so this is green color. Just need to click on start free, and you can pass some name here. Click on create one. Click on next. So enter the email address in the format someone. Okay, Outlook. I'll use Outlook, guys. Okay, so this is my email ID. Click on next. So someone already has this email address. Okay,
Which Gmail ID we can't create this one?
you can use your email ID. You can Gmail ID also, you can use it, or else you can create a new email ID.
Okay.
Outlook. Okay.
Okay.
Because it's a Microsoft Outlook, also Microsoft, right? So we mostly use Outlook only. So that's the reason I'm using Outlook. You can also use your Gmail ID and try it. Okay.
So let's suppose if you already have Outlook ID, you can use that too, right?
Yes, yes. You can use that too as well. Okay. So now we can pass this password and click on next. So once you provided a password, and you can just click on next. And this is my email ID, and it's asking please solve the puzzle so we know you are not a robot, right? So just click on next and pick the B, right? Click on
The top middle.
this one, right?
Yeah, right.
This one on this one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So once you solve this puzzle, it will redirect it to the login page. So I can see here the login page, and you can start entering your details, your first name. For example, I'll mention my first name, last name, middle name is not required. And this is my email address. It will automatically populated once you already passed, right, while creating the account. And you have to pass your phone number, guys. Okay, so whatever it is, so just want to pass some phone number. And so if you want to use a different phone number to verify your identity, you can also use that. And text me or call me. So just text me. So I have to be authenticated, actually verification code you will receive to your phone. Okay, and you have to pass this verification code here. This is verification code, verify code. So verification is done, and you can pass the your organization name, and PAN ID is not don't provide all these things, guys. So not required. So address line 1 and address line 2 you can also specify here. City you can pass. State you can pass. If you want postal code, and I agree. Okay. So whatever the information you have passed, and address also you need to pass, guys. So some sample address, click on next. So if you need, you need to agree. And if you need any information from Microsoft, I would like to Microsoft to share my information with selected partners, so I can receive relevant information about their product and services. If you want, you can enable this, otherwise leave it. Click on next. So now it is asking the credit card information, guys. Remember this point, it will accept only Visa and MasterCard. Okay, so it won't accept any other cards. So try to use the credit card, and you can enter all your credit card. They will not charge you single rupee from your credit card. Initially they will charge 2 rupees, and they will credit the 2 rupees again after 1 or 2 days. Okay, only 2 rupees they will charge, guys, and they will credit again. And so they will not charge until you go for pay as you go subscription. Remember this point. Okay, so you can sign up accordingly. You need to enter all this credit card information, and the credit card holder name and card number, expiry, CVV. Once you pass the CV and all this information, they will charge from you 2 rupees. Okay, initially from your credit card they will charge 2 rupees, and they will again credit the 2 rupees just for verification purpose. Okay, and they will again credit those 2 rupees after maybe 1 or 2 days. Okay, so right side you can see, guys, create your Azure free account and popular services free for 12 months, 40 plus services always free, 13,300 credit to use in your first 30 days. So you can practice while practicing, you can have this 13,300 credit. And I can also explain how you need to reduce the cost, even if you can go for pay as you go subscription, and how exactly you need to reduce the cost. They will not charge. If you can follow this, you cannot maybe get the bill maybe 1,000 or 1,500, 2,000 below. You'll get the bill and below 2,000 only. So try to understand, guys. If you have free account, if you have the credit card already, you can use this credit card only. Okay, and even your friends, if you have any other credit cards, you can try. You can create different accounts with their credit card, and but you have to create if it is expires, you have to create a new account again, and you will be able to practice in that account. Okay, so you cannot access any of your services from existing account. You have to create everything from scratch. So try to remember, guys, once you start implementing, right, once you start creating a pipelines, right, and you can just remove that. Okay, once your example is completed, so maybe today you learn something, right? So you just need to create that pipeline and how you create it. Maybe tomorrow it would be different concept again, right? So you have to be practice that. So try to review once you start creating, and that way what happen, Microsoft will not charge from you. They will charge you only that the particular period of time while data is moving from source to target. So for example, so from 100 GB of data, I'm trying to say with the 200 Mbps speed, it's taking only 8 minutes time with a $12. They are charging only $12, and this is how Microsoft is charging actually. Okay, so only that 8 minutes Microsoft will charge from you based on resources used per data moment. Okay, so this is how we need to create free account. Any questions on a free account or any questions on what we discussed in a today's session?
As of now, no.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Suresh, I had a question. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, please
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
once you make this, like you set up a credit card or debit card onto this one, when is the next time they are going to try to charge the amount?
They
Would
will
they
not
charge or would
charge.
they would not charge anything ever?
Yeah, they will not charge anything from your credit card. They will charge initially 2 rupees, guys. Again, 2 rupees they will credit again after 1 or 2 days. You can create your free account and you can practice accordingly.
Okay, so they won't charge anything ever.
Anything, they won't charge. Even after completed 30 days also, you need to disable. If you are not disabled, it will automatically disable and they will not charge anything from you.
Okay, so it's safe to put your information on this, right?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Any other questions, team? So try to create a free account. If you have any questions while creating this free account, I'll help you guys. Okay, I'll connect with one-on-one. I'll help you if you face any issues while creating the Azure free account, because you have to practice from tomorrow onwards. So that's the reason I'm insisting on this point.
Other than Azure account, do we need to install any other softwares like
No,
SQL or
guys, no,
anything?
not at all. So, I mean, maybe you have to install a few softwares, only 1 or 2 softwares. One is Azure Storage Explorer, because these things we can use in a real time. I have to explain that how you need to install and access Azure Storage Explorer, and SSMS tool also we can use in a real time. I'll explain those tools. Those two tools is enough. Uh,
Uh, yes,
it won't take. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the
It won't
SSMS we
take
need to
much time,
install.
guys.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you have to install SSMS, SQL Server
Sure.
Management Studio, because what will happen in a portal, it's very difficult to view the data, guys. Through we have a query editor option while connecting to the SQL database, but it's not visible the entire data. There are some restrictions. Still, query editor is in a preview stage, guys. Okay, you can use SSMS tool to clearly view the data, whatever the data you have loaded into SQL database from source. And if you want to view the data clearly, and through SSMS, generally we can use in a real time. Okay.
Do you guide us to install the SSMS, right? How to install the
Yes, yes.
SSMS?
I'll show you. I'll show you how you need to install SSMS in your machine. Okay.
Okay.
Even Storage Explorer, how you need to connect with your storage account. So we have different storage accounts in a real time for dev, test, stage, production, different kinds of environment anyhow, right? For each environment, we'll have different storage accounts. We'll connect at work. So we can see all the storage account at one place in a Storage Explorer. But when it comes to portal, we have to log into portal and we have to be go to the each and every storage account, and then we have to be upload the files. So I mean, this is it will take more time actually to connect and load all the data. We can do with the portal, but it will take more time. But generally, we will use for faster access, faster retrieval. If you want to download any file, we'll use Storage Explorer only. I'll show you how you need to configure that. Okay. So today's session we discussed about a free account. Please try to create a free account, guys. If you have any questions, I'll connect with you and I'll help you for creating a free account. Okay, if you have any issues. So try to follow this, whatever the steps I have explained in today's session. Try to create a free account and let me know if you have any issues. Sounds good, guys. Everyone with me, everyone is understanding. Any questions till now?
Suresh, I wanted to ask you about interviews. I know it's too early, but do you mind if I call you later on post this call?
Yes, yes, Suresh. Yeah, you can call me. No issues.
All right, thank you.
Praveen, you cannot use because many few guys are working debit card, Visa card, but a few members is not working. I don't know actually. Many people it's working for credit card, but you can try Visa debit card if it is working that well and good. If it is not working at initial stage itself, it will throw. There is an error actually. It is not supported. Something it will show through. It will show an error. If it is not supporting, you have to choose the other credit card, other card. Okay. It might be based on in a real time, guys, how much data we can handle. That's what the question from Sujit. And it's based on the project, guys. It might be 50 GB, it might be 5 GB, it might be 100 GB, it might be 1 TB of data. So it's based on your requirement. Okay, so you can choose that tool accordingly. Okay, so where exactly you are trying to move data, what kind of data it is, what is the volume of data, those things you have to be maybe once you start working. I mean, it's not a constant actually, it will varies from source system to source system. The volume of data also varies, and the formats maybe different kinds of file formats, sometimes Excel files, sometimes CSV files, okay, JSON files, log files, right? Different kinds of audio files, video files, image files, different kinds of file formats, right? You have to be choose that. It varies, guys. Okay, answer to your question, it varies source system to source system, but it's not fixed. We can handle any. It might be 5 GB, it might be 100 GB, it might be 50 GB. We can handle all kinds of data. It's not fixed for EDF. They should be this much size. It's not like that. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, we'll wind up the session, guys.
Thank you, Suresh.
No issues, Praveen. Thank you all for joining. Have a great day. Please try to create a free account, guys. Okay.
Thank you, Santosh, Suresh, for the
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye.